Welcome to Hamim Loyal. This is Eric Grissom.
And I'm Dan Johnson. Eric and I will be rewatching the iconic Twin Peaks from the pilot through the return and everything in between.
If this is your first time watching, or if you're a longtime fan, you can watch along with us as we dive deep into the strange and wonderful world of Twin Peaks.
We live inside a dream.
Today on Meanwhile, we are back after what seems like a very long break, but for me, it doesn't feel like a break because I feel like I've been going and going and going because we've been doing interviews, Dan.
Eric, you were working while I was vacating. I was on vacation, and what's he doing? Having incredible interviews. We got Dana Gould episode. Blew my mind, folks. I got to listen to it as Eric was editing it, and I'm sitting there laughing as my partner's like, "What are you listening to?" It was so good. And then you did this interview with Bob Engels where I learned so much stuff, and I think you got a really good perspective because some of the things that we have heard in the how things came together. He has his own firsthand point of view, and I hope everyone really enjoyed it.
First off, this is freaking Bob Engels.
Yeah.
So you could tell. I love me, Fire Walk With Me. We're on a phone. So the whole time, usually Dan and I would talk over some kind of video chat thing, and you got backups going on, and, it's got the audio, and so I find out as soon as our interview's scheduled that I got to figure out how to record a phone conversation, which I've never done. So the entire time I am just in a dead panic that the phone is going to fail.
Right.
Like, it took me over 6 months to land the interview. And I was like, this is like the one chance. And I also didn't know how long we were going to have. And as soon as it started, he was like, yeah, about a half hour.
Oh,
and
man.
Listen, he said 15 minutes. I would give him 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
The guy's giving his time up for me. I would have taken it. But as you can imagine, I had questions for 3 hours at least. There were so many things that I had wanted to ask. Was the 11 script covered in blood? I wanted to find out if he had read Jennifer Lynch's Secret Diary of Laura Palmer before they wrote Fire Walk With Me.
Right.
But I had to pick and choose. So hopefully I picked the right ones. It was great to talk to him about On the Air, which, spoilers, I think that is what we will be doing after we finish the final dossier. So the final dossier will transition into doing 7 episodes of On the Air. I've rewatched it. I love it. I don't know how you're going to land on it.
I'm excited to see what it is. I just want to see a completely different. And I've seen some clips now that I didn't even know it existed until a couple of weeks ago. So now I've seen some clips, and I'm psyched about it. Something totally different, something wild. But yeah, we're back.
We're here to talk about a couple of things. We've got to do some housekeeping. It's been 3 weeks, I guess. 3 weeks. Calendar fans are yelling. It's been 3 weeks since we heard from you. Yeah, we got some feedback. So we got people writing in. So one listener, Matt W, over on the Patreon, he posted about his theory about the meanwhile gesture. These are Matt W's words. In my viewing, the gesture represents the frame around Laura's face in the homecoming picture. Essentially, I'll see you again in 25 years. Meanwhile, I'll be framed in this image as the homecoming queen forever. When we see the doppelganger later, she's still in the frame of the homecoming queen, all-American girl. But meanwhile, the most pain and suffering is happening to her, and inside her, the idea of stasis really permeates the original series with the way the finale brings things back to quote-unquote starting position, which is appropriate for today's part that we will be coming. Now, Matt has a band that is called Hooks for Feet. They have an EP called Meanwhile. So I'll put a link in for his Bandcamp link. You can check it out. Give old Matt W a listen. Also, we got a voicemail.
What?
Never got a voicemail before. Harvey W. sent an audio file over on the Instagram, so I'm going to drop it in here.
I apologize for contacting you this way, but I wanted to bring something up after having listened to your review of part 2 of The Return, going back to the scene with Mr. C and Daria in the hotel room, or the motel room. But unless you mentioned it and I missed it, which I don't think I did, I always thought that briefcase / outdated computer that Mr. C had was Wyndham Earle's from the cabin.
It is. It's the same type of briefcase, so it's like an FBI thing. That's the way I always took it. But is it literally the same device that Wyndham Earle had? We talked about maybe the fake Philip Jeffries could be Wyndham Earle. It would explain how he knew some of the FBI stuff. Who knows? But it's an interesting observation that we did not mention that it is the same device. So thank you. Hey, if anyone else wants to send in an audio file, I'll do my best to play it before we get to the proper episode.
Incredible.
Last one, Dan. Last one. We also heard from a Jared Sarney, who wrote a Twin Peaks-inspired graphic novel called The Machine is Broken. This is the description. Lux is going to kill herself, and she's invited her mom. Lux's sister is coming too, but she was never officially invited, for the record. The three women travel to Zurich, home of the world's first fully legal suicide pod. Hijinks ensue. It's coming May 26th from Field Mouse Press. So if you like comics, like I like comics, give it a pre-order and check it out, because it's supposed to be very Lynch and Twin Peaks inspired.
Eric, have you ever heard of anyone doing a comic book or graphic novel series that is inspired by Twin Peaks before?
I did. I have
That's
one,
what I
and
thought.
It remains unfinished. Unfortunately, we're 2 issues away. So maybe one day it'll get finished, and I too can tell you to support it because it's out of print. I have other comics that you can check out, but yeah.
I was just going to say, this is the one that came to mind for me, but maybe once we're not podcasting every week, someone will have time to go back
I
to
know.
that well.
That's all. I do miss it, and I have a great idea of something that I want to do, and I haven't been able to do it because you know how it is, Dad. Because you know why? Because I'm talking about what happened on August 6th, 2017. Twin Peaks Part 13 airs. Dan, I'm ready to talk about Part 13. I hope you're ready to talk about Part 13.
I'm ready to talk about that story, Charlie.
It's the last 6. It's the last 6 of The Return. So yeah, this is the end. The end is in sight. So let's pull up to the farm and hop out and see what's going on the big TV.
The last time I saw you was about 7 years ago. You were down on your hands and knees looking for a potato.
Where was I?
It was, in the supermarket. You had dropped it. There was a big storm that day.
Oh.
We start off, Eric, at the Lucky 7 Insurance Company. The Mitchum brothers and their lovely lady assistants celebrate with Dougie and Bushnell as Tony Sinclair makes himself scarce.
Man, what a way to start a day. When you get that train, I want to be on that train. I want to be one of the people on that Conga line. It's not Congo line. That's the film with the giant gorilla, right?
That's
the
right.
White gorilla. That's Congo. Okay. Now that's a line I don't want to be on.
No.
But I would be on a Conga line. Is that right? Conga?
Conga line.
Right.
We got the Mitchums. We got Dougie. We got Sandy Candy.
The music is so good. So you get this great remix of Angelo Badalamenti and a Lynch song. I believe it's solo percussion number 2. It's played with other sounds mixed in on top of that they did. It's really, really, really cool.
That was the first question I had, is if you knew what that was, because to me it sounded like a broken Casio keyboard's like auto preset of like a bossa nova beat or something. It was
Yeah. The drum part is like from an old like, thing from the show, but it's played really fast. But then there's other stuff on top of it, like layered in, and it's great. It's such a weird mood. Bushnell's office, I love them giving out the gifts. I've always talked about how much I like Candy, but Candy's like a attention to detail as she's counting the gifts to make sure that there's 3, and she kind of meticulously organizes them and gives them the proper space between them. So we've got some gifts, right? So we have Monte Cristo number 2, which I know Dan's a big cigar aficionado.
Of course.
It's a type of cigar. But now that I've talked to Bob Engels, and the fact that I can say that is very exciting, that I heard that he actually would go to Canada and smuggle David Lynch cigars out, I just wonder, were they Monte Cristos? That whole thing about the cigars that I learned kind of blew my theory. I always thought I would never like someone that was really into cigars. As a young man walking this planet, every time I've run into another man that's been real into cigars, the chances of us having anything in common is less than 0. And in fact, I'll probably be very uncomfortable whatever we're talking about. It's immediately going to be sports, or someone wants to go somewhere I don't want to go. Yes. So hearing he likes cigars, I was like, kind of threw my theory out. I don't know where you land on that. Maybe you smoke cigars and we get along.
It seems like a very self-selecting group, and I hate it. I will say I've tried to smoke cigars. It didn't take, just like I tried to like sports and it didn't take. So I don't know.
Whatever. We're not here to talk about cigars. We're here to talk about the second box, monogram diamond cufflinks. And man, Candy is so happy to give him that new car keys. You get the BMW convertible. It's the same gift we're going to give Dougie. And again, cars.
Yeah.
It's broken cars. We drive poor cars, and now here they're getting this new car, and I'll have more to say about that, I think, a little bit later. This is all like a wrong has been made right. The sun is shining brighter. This episode is full of kind of hearts that yearn for like lovelorn, but it's also about forgiveness, and it's also about justice. I love Tony. Tom Sizemore is so good in this. When he's hiding under the desk. And while he's hiding under the desk, I don't know if you noticed on the screen, of course, there's a slip and fall claim on his computer. The recipient of that is Nancy Steiner. She was the costume designer for the 2017 series. One of the note was she tripped over merchandise, which I just found funny.
That's fantastic.
Poor Tony he has to kill Dougie. We already were prepped for that. Mr. Todd said if he was not able to get this hit to happen, that he would be the one that would have to do it. And poor Roger is going to get yelled at. I don't know. What's your thing? I said a lot there.
Yeah, no, that conga line is a great way to open this episode. Yeah, like I said, the music was crazy. I just had no idea what was going on there. But each of them, how excited they are, and Dougie just along for the ride. He's just got this smile on his face. A lot of times we just see Dougie kind of in this dreamlike stupor, but here he's like actually kind of into it. That's really fun. The way that Candy is delivering the presents, you mentioned that she's so excited and like laying them out. She just gets progressively more and more excited through each one until she gives it. She can almost barely contain getting the words out for the new car, which is awesome. Sinclair is just so over the top in this episode. Previously, it's like, what's going on with him? He's like kind of a villain guy. And in this episode, especially as we get towards the end, you just see all of that punctured. But you can see before he even gets there that he is so in over his head and out of his depth. Obviously, the hit didn't go the way it was planned. The fact that he hides under the desk to make the call is great. I love the detail though, because I was like, is this a mistake? It can't be a mistake because everything like is meticulous, but like the dandruff on his shoulder in this first scene bothered me. It's like, does that have any, and it obviously pays off later. So really, really cool to see that in the beginning because he's wearing the dark suit. It's really obvious there. It's like, they couldn't have made this mistake. Maybe it's just a character choice, but no, it's actually a plot device that comes up later in a way that wouldn't happen in any other friggin' show. Amazing. Now, Sinclair has 1 day left. He thought he had 2. He thought he had more time, but Mr. Todd is like, you only have 1 day. I don't know what to make of the last line from it was all this tight shot on Mr. Todd when he tells Roger, get in here. I don't know what Roger's going to be up to if Sinclair's going to have someone on his back there, but it's definitely foreboding.
Right. And when you think of Mr. Todd's perspective, if this doesn't go well, he's fucked. I mean, essentially, like, so his life is on the line. You can't disappoint Mr. C.
Yeah, there's going to be a murder one way or another. Someone's are dying here. But let's move out of this area of Vegas and head over to the Joneses. Janie E takes delivery of an American dream, and now Sonny Jim is in seventh heaven.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I talked about this before, so I'll talk more about this idea. Like, there's a lot to be made of material things with the car, the gym set. Like, she's getting all of her material dreams that's being equated to happiness. But I do love seeing how happy she looks because you realize what life must have been like with freaking Dougie prior to Cooper, assuming his form. And so seeing at least that she has this moment because she sees the gym set being unloaded and then looks over to the car, and it's like all these things are coming together for her. And the swelling music as she's smiling, a beautiful piece of music. It's called Seven Heaven by Dean Hurley. And then, man, you go to that backyard sequence and you've got the spotlight, the scene at night with the spotlight, and it's on Sonny Jim's playground. It's like a fantasy. This is all very much an unreal fantasy that feels like it's inside of Janie's head. Like, we've seen the spotlight illuminate sort of the other world before. It's usually something negative, Leland, Bob with Maddie. But here the light is illuminating another world, a brighter world. But I will be returning to the idea of kind of what's real with some of these characters and some of these scenes later. But you can just write that in your diary, and I'll get to it next episode. Dana Gould brought up something really interesting. He just sent it to me the other day via email that he must have been watching Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. You've seen it, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. The imaginary baby is named Sonny Jim.
See, it's been bothering me this whole time that Janie E is such a weird name. The Janie-E and the Sonny Jim is such a throwback name that doesn't. Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting, and that really feels right for this character. The couple you were just mentioning. What was their relationship like before this? And you can imagine, that abusive, maybe not abusive, but definitely passive aggressive sort of dynamic between them. Makes sense.
Sure. And when you think about that film and how the baby is used in that film, and it's about we can spoil this film. It's about a couple that it's a play as well. I love it. It's one of my favorite films. But whatever. There's a couple that can't have kids, and they have this kind of imaginary kid. It's like secret, and then they let that out into the world, and then that sort of explodes in this wonderful drama.
Now, I didn't know that you had a son.
What?
A son? I hadn't known.
You would have known me to find out, huh?
Tomorrow is his birthday. He will be 16.
Well,
she told you about him?
Well, yes.
She told you about him?
Yes.
But everything about Sonny Jim is perfect. He's like a perfect child, and now Dougie is like a perfect husband, and she has money, and there's this new car, and everything is working out.
And a handsome husband that she can't keep her hands off, like every part of her life. And all this money that no problems with that anymore. Solving every problem without any issues. Yeah.
Right. And that's the appearance. But we know as viewers, it's a lie. We know Dougie's manufactured.
Someone manufactured you.
So by nature, he's an imitation. We know it's Cooper that's inside of him. It's already some level of deceit to her wonder world of this beautiful thing is all basically predicated on this original sin or the original lie of Mr. C creating Dougie, which are what stories are. Like, that is the nature of stories. Stories are imitations of life. Like Sonny Jim and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and maybe like Sonny Jim in the world of Twin Peaks: The Return. But we shall see. Of course, the music that's playing is Dance of the Swans from Swan Lake. If you don't know the story of Swan Lake, there's a prince and he's supposed to marry this princess, but he doesn't want to. And then he goes hunting and he comes across a bunch of swans. And one of them is a princess named Odette, who's turned into a swan by an evil sorcerer. And she's got to find a man who was never loved before to love her. And they fall in love, blah, 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 blah. The sorcerer or the magician tries to break them up. And he does this by making his own daughter look like someone else. And this is like the white swan, black swan, which it's Twin Peaks. I mean, you have these doubles, people becoming other people. You think one person's one thing, but they're actually another thing. And so it's a wonderful choice of music that's very fitting for the stuff we're talking about and what we're going to talk about. It's also a story about betrayal and redemption. It's also a performance in which the quote-unquote stars of the play do two roles, human and a swan, also known as the Cygnets Dance, Dan. But yeah, anyway, beautiful scene, wonderful scene, especially while they're watching their son, and then she looks over to Dougie and she says,
Look what you've done. Sonny Jim's in seventh heaven.
Seven heaven.
Mm. And then the car. Oh, Dougie. I love you so much.
and he just mouths the word so much.
I don't know if I could have anything really to add on to that. I do like in the beginning of this, whenever Janie gets the knock on the door with the delivery guys, it just made me think of the first time we see Janie answering the door, but it's Dougie with the cops at night. And this time it's like the exact opposite. She's getting all of her dreams, continuing to get her dreams fulfilled in this case. So that was really nice to see her. And she really is just welling up with tears of joy throughout this. I mean, Naomi Watts is striking to look at and such a wonderful actress. You can just see this pouring out of her. The use of the term seventh heaven, I don't know if there's anything else there, but the name Sonny Jim and being in seventh heaven, she says he's in seventh heaven. Dougie repeats seventh heaven.
Seventh Heaven was David Lynch's favorite sitcom.
Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense.
No.
Wait, was it a sitcom or was it a family drama? What was Seventh Heaven?
It was a family drama, I guess. It was.
You're thinking 8 is enough, or just the 10, or just the 10 of us? One of those comedies.
Very funny you said 8 is enough, but we'll save that for later. But no, I meant Seventh Heaven.
The thing is, the summer before I went off to college, I did a little experimenting myself.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm trying to tell you before you come down on the kids. I want you to know that I've smoked pot.
You could go down a rabbit hole and you look up like Seventh Heaven cringy clips on TikTok or whatever, and some of those drug ones, it's wonderful.
Stuff.
It's wonderful. But yes, no. So go on. You were saying Seventh Heaven has a bigger meaning for you.
It's just a phrase that kind of stuck out to me. Not a phrase you hear all that often, and an interesting way to describe Sonny Jim, who he is purely having the time of his life doing this.
But sevens are everywhere. Like 7 is a very important number to David Lynch, but also in the show and the seventh floor, and the multiple seven things in dreams and seventh heaven. It's ultimate ecstasy or state of ecstasy, not ultimate ecstasy. You got to pay extra for the, I'll have the seventh heaven. If a guy tells you I'll have the seventh heaven, chances are he's smoking a cigar.
This is true. Yeah. I don't know what to make of Dougie also saying seventh heaven instead of seventh heaven when he repeats her, and then also only mouthing so much instead of saying it. Those are two things that he doesn't really do any other place. He's that, that echoing that he does. He might maybe drop a word here or there, but doesn't usually get it wrong where it doesn't, actually say it out loud. I don't know if it means anything, but it just stood out to me. From here, Eric, we're going to leave sunny Las Vegas. We're going to head out to somewhere in western Montana. Mr. C finds the man who killed him, plays a nursery school game, and gets a new crew of tough guys, including a familiar face from Twin Peaks, which totally surprised me. That was exciting. But
we're finally at the farm. I mean, how long have we been waiting to go to the farm? They took us to a real farm, and it wasn't the farm. And now we went to someplace that's clearly not a farm, but it's the farm.
That's ironically named.
Great music. So the music playing here, it's Eastern European Symphonic Mood No. 1 by Mr. Dean Hurley again. The first image that you see from inside the farm looking out is Ray watching Mr. C enter on this giant TV, just like us watching this show. I mean, there's several scenes in here of characters watching TV as they're watching the scene, which I love, as you can imagine. Renzo, who's the big, huge nursery school teacher, him saying, "You didn't kill him too, good Ray," is super funny, but only made funnier when you hear Mr. C saying, "I came to see you, buddy."
Hey, Ray, you in here somewhere?
And how did he get the code? I gave it to him.
Came to see you, buddy.
But only to the door.
Like, he's saying these things as he gets out. He says, "I came to see you, buddy." That's wonderful. It's so good. Renzo, by the way, is played by Derek Mears is the actor's name. So cool. Him taking the elevator ride up. I mean, it says there's no smoking, no passengers, whatever. Again, we get more and more smoking things that are constantly going on. They need furniture at the farm. All these dudes, there's nowhere to sit. There's only 2 seats, and it's only for arm wrestling.
Yeah, that's all they do.
It just seems like there's a lot of guys, and there's not a lot of stuff to do. Like, what were they doing before Mr. C arrived? Just kind of standing around in the empty, doing crime talk?
Presumably more nursery school games. They might be playing Duck, Duck, Go. I don't know, man. Are they involved in Sparkle? Are they just so amped up they can't sit down? I don't know.
Yeah, this is quite a crew, especially the accountant, which I guess we'll talk about later. But we also get to meet Muddy, Love Muddy, who's played by Frank Collison. Now, he's been in a bunch of stuff, but David Lynch fans, of course, you'll remember him as Timmy Thompson in Wild at Heart. He was hanging out at Big Tuna.
Hey, Timmy, what's going on over there in number 4 where all them bright lights are all the time?
Them are making a pornographic movie. Texas style. You want to join in?
One thing about surviving in Big Tuna, you gotta have an active sense of humor.
I love the whole arm wrestling as a transfer of power. It's so funny. And just to hear, like, imagine all the men who tried to beat him at arm wrestling for 14 years. Now, Mr. C says, "What is this, kindergarten, nursery school?" Super funny line there. But then he gets punched in the back of the head. There's like cheap shot. It's like, hey, this is from the nursery school teacher, which creates a neat little parallel. Richard Horn sends a nursery school teacher to the hospital, and Mr. C sends a nursery school teacher to the morgue. So it's this nice little thing with Miriam.
But that's great. Sorry to interrupt you. The bookend for me was he got punched in the back of the head, and then later he punches in the front of his face. Like, that was the bookend for me. But the nursery school thing, of course, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I just like that little bit, but that's true as well. Mr. C is a tough dude. Mr. C is amazing in this scene when he does the arm wrestling, and there's so much tension, and it's so good. I love the way that the entire, and you would say, like, it's silly, like that arm wrestling thing on any other hands another director's hands or whatever would be silly. But there's so much tension, especially the starting positions, and how effective that is every time we go back and he lets himself go all the way and you're like, he's invincible, which adds some questions to how he has these superpowers. Clearly Bob is inside of him. So you're getting them from Bob. Is it just because Cooper's so good at all these things, his doppelganger would have superhuman strength on top of that? But it's an interesting choice. It's almost as if he's starting to understand the bigger rules of storytelling in the story that he's in, that he can start to control reality in a way. Is very cool.
Oh, wow. That's a really interesting idea. I mean, I can't wait until we get, well, sad to get to the end, but really can't wait to get to the end to see how the complete vision you have of your working theory of how this all comes together. But these pieces that you're talking about, of the meta narrative or characters becoming aware of where they are in the story, I think that's really interesting.
Do you need any money?
No.
I love the accountant. Like, he's played by Christopher Durbin, but just seeing him in the beginning, because you could miss him, I guess, maybe the first time. He's standing there with the rest of them, but the way he like cuts across the scene and then he just appears later asking if you need money. Love it.
I thought at first it was a sight gag. Like, it was almost like a slapstick thing, or like almost like a Mel Brooks thing or something. You're just panning across at all these different, almost caricatures of tough guys. And it's just this one little accountant in the back until the end when he asks if he needs money. So he actually, thank goodness he got a line too, which is cool. But it's just an amazing, funny visual gag to have him there. Just hilarious.
This crew is great. The way they turn on Ray as well, like watching that happen when Ray eventually, they're like, he is probably going to be our new boss.
You're totally right about the arm wrestling. It felt so high stakes, especially at the beginning when you see Mr. C's going down. Mr. C's not really going to lose this, but he looks like he's really struggling. So even at the beginning, when he's going down, he comes back up to starting positions again. He even lets Renzo almost feel like he's has a chance there. So it's not just that he's toying with them from the very first second he sits down. From the moment they stepped in, certainly when he got punched in the back of the head, it's like, I'm not going to let this go quickly. I'm going to play with you now. And that back and forth is great. Going back to the starting positions was so much fun. But he says at the beginning, like, if you win, you're gonna, you'll be the new boss. I don't want to be your boss. I want Ray. But then at the end, whenever he does win, it's like, he's all yours, boss.
Now he has a new crew. Give me your cell phones.
Yeah, the first thing he does is ask for all the cell phones, which was great. So he's got a pile of cell phones that you're not going to get any signal up here, boss. But just awesome. And then they all clear out, and we're ready for finally the confrontation between Ray and Cooper. Well, Mr. C.
Yeah, I mean, when he takes out Renzo, though, that image of him sprawled out on the ground, bleeding from his eye wound. So it's another sort of eye thing that we've been seeing over and over and over again. I love his alone time with Ray. This is an episode also about, I keep saying, like, mercy and forgiveness, and there's no forgiveness for Ray. We learned a couple of things I guess we got to just sort of iron out before we talk about it further. We know that he was hired by Philip Jeffries.
It came through a man named Philip Jeffries. At least that's the name he gives. I never met him. And we talked to him on the phone.
We saw him on the phone after part 8 when he's talking about seeing the woodsman. So that's sort of how he's been talking about it. He does meet a guy he's never seen before, a guard, who gives him the ring and gives him this information that he wanted to put the Alcave ring on Mr. C when he killed him. Had to be the left hand, ring finger, the left hand. We don't know who that guy is. Is that guy Philip Jeffries? Is it someone else? We don't know. It's something to think about. Mr. C's you can watch like Mr. C's sort of wheels spinning when he's like, did he mention Major Briggs? Is this the same guy I talked to that I'm doubting is Philip Jeffries? Or is it actually Philip Jeffries? Or like he's in this position where he's not sure like what the deal is with Jeffries. And it's great to watch it. Mr. C talking about, he just wants those coordinates that he got from Betty. he says, do you really think you can trust the numbers for me? And you watch him sort of consider that as well. And it's like, he's right. You can't trust this son of a bitch.
He even says, do you really think I'm going to give them to you? And then 2 seconds later, he gives them to him. But yeah, planting that seed of doubt there, which is Ray, you only got a couple of cards left. Might as well play them all. So
you got to give it up for that fucker, Ray. Even on his back, shot, Mr. C over him. He calls him stupid.
Yes.
Can I reach in my pocket?
Depends on what's in the pocket.
The number's stupid.
He's like, what are you reaching for? I'm getting the numbers, stupid. It's so great. So he ends up putting on the ring. And at that point is when Richard shows up. So Richard Horn shows up. When you watch Richard Horn with all those dudes watching the screen, watch Mr. C, sort of take the coordinates and then end the life of that fucker Ray. Ray also mentions before that happens the Dutchmans, right? So we get a location.
Ray, where's Philip Jeffries?
Last I heard, he was at a place called the Dutchmans. But it's not a real place.
I know what it is.
Love that line. I know what it is after he shoots him, because Ray believes it's not real or it's not a real place. But we may have seen the Dutchmans before. Maybe we'll see. We will get to it later. But maybe it's something you've seen before. Maybe it isn't. And then Ray's soul is in the Black Lodge. So poor Ray, he is trapped, or what I call a soul. You can call it something else, but Ray's soul getting sent to the Black Lodge, and you watch Mike sort of place that ring back up on that pedestal. And man, what another striking image of Ray bleeding out on that chevron floor. It's just wonderful.
I was so surprised to see the ring in this scene. Like, he got the ring. So, right, the guard gave it to him, but was it actually Philip Jeffries? Like, what was the last time we saw, well, in this, I guess we saw it on Dougie. So how did it get from Doug? Unless there's more than one ring?
Well, no, it's the same ring. So Dougie gets killed, right? And then the ring goes back into the Black Lodge, right? And then the ring at some point comes out of the Black Lodge and goes to this person that wants to put it on. And this is what I'll throw forward, wants to put it on Mr. C so that when Mr. C gets killed, I will be with Bob again. Mr. C would go back to the lodge, and then the Bob spirit would be free to inhabit, quote unquote, Philip Jeffries.
But you don't know how the ring got from Dougie's hand falling off in the lodge and Mike putting on the pedestal out again.
You don't see it come out again, so you have to think about how did the ring kind of move around? A lot of times it moves around through Mike. So we saw Mike with the ring trying to give it to Laura when he was wearing it, supposedly throwing it into the train car. So it seems to be, the ring that Mike at one point wore on that arm that he cut off. Is it something, how does Teresa Banks get the ring? We see the ring in Fire Walk with Me. So it is a thing that is given to you, is gifted to you. If Philip Jeffries has ways of communicating with these people, then maybe he has ways of bringing the ring out of the world through a portal.
I know that I'm trying to establish rules where that's not really the point. You don't really need to do that, but just it's one of those things that in the back of your mind, how did it get from here to there? And for me with Mike and seeing him put it back on the pedestal again, it just makes me think of him saying, is this future? Is this past? We don't even know if it's the right timeline. When did it come out? Maybe the ring left before it came back in again or vice versa. So it's kind of a brain teaser.
Right. The ring itself could be sentient in a way where it wants to go out and find people, like freaking the ring from Lord of the Rings, where it wants to be found because then you put it on and it corrupts you and whatever. So it could sort of find its way out on its own.
I also love whenever he puts the ring on his finger and it disappears and falls onto the chevron floor, and you just hear the reverberation of the metal for 5-10 seconds. I just love how that echoes. The sound design, again, just really on point throughout all of this. And just seeing, like you said, Mike put it back in reverse, putting it back on top of the pedestal where it belongs is terrific. All right, Eric. We've been away from Vegas for far too long. Let's go back. We'll see the Fuscos. They get information on Dougie's prints, and Sinclair talks to his dirty cop conspirator friend.
The off-screen chaos that is going on is so funny. And I don't know if you saw the San Diego Comic-Con panel that they did when the return was originally out. I think it was, I don't remember the date. I talked about the date before. I can drop it in. But David Lynch did a greeting before the panel.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And hey, don't go out that door. Hey, we're on the 4th floor. We're not on the ground floor here, buddy. What are you doing? Hey! Hey!
And it's the same type of joke. He's like, hey, good afternoon. And then you just hear a bunch of crazy shit happening and he keeps getting up. And then he'll sit down and he'll be like, say something about O.J. Simpson. But then there's like a horse going by. And like, it's the same joke of chaos off screen that is then drawing the attention. It's so funny. I just wanted to say that just so I could put the clip in. And this reminds me of that so much.
She's still pissing, Phil. Cocksuckers! I'll shake your mouth! I'll get her. And she's got a knife. I'll do Twinkies! I'll cut your nuts out! Taser! Taser, Phil! Taser! Oh! Oh!
Again, with the gags in this one, like the sight gag with that, I think with the accountant, and in this one, it almost feels like a police squad sort of thing in the background. Like it is that level of like, it's so absurd because the two Fusco brothers that are there, Smiley and the other one, no reaction. And even before that, Smiley being on the phone with their mom, giving her directions, and I gotta make a U-turn, which, it's a cop telling her to pull a U-turn, go around the block. It's so funny. I mean, that is the thing. Like, in this episode, there are so many jokes throughout. That one just killed me because there's just like the woman in the off screen is like getting sprayed with mace at the end.
It's pretty rough. It's
or
pretty
tasered
rough.
or whatever. Yeah. It's awful. It's awful.
No, it's so funny. Plot wise, so we get the prints back. And they assume it's a mistake, of course, because how could Dougie be this missing FBI agent, using their automated finger identification system?
And it would also have to be in two places at the same time, too. So, like, first of all, like, he couldn't be them. And then really, like, this is how absurd they got it so wrong. They even think he's an FBI agent. Great.
And they just they do the old, how many points I'm going to get for knocking this in the thing. Poor Tony as well, talking to the bad crooked cops. Detective Clark, played by John Savage. He was in the film Deer Hunter, if you've seen it. And his partner is Johnny Chavez, who plays quote unquote crooked partner. If you had to like call casting and said like, give me a cop that looks dirty, they're going to send you John Savage as Detective Clark. He's kind of perfectly cast for this moment.
Yep.
He buys some poison, so I guess Akantine is a poison. I looked it up, so if you wanted to poison someone, I guess the crime labs are just getting smart to it, but apparently it still works. And we know that the cops are deep in with Mr. Todd. That's the only other detail.
Just going to say delete your browser history now that you've looked at that poison. Yeah, I thought at the end of this, whenever what was the character name of the other cop that was
crooked partner. Yeah.
When crooked partner comes over and talks to him, I absolutely thought, because he says kind of like a loose end or he's cracking, whatever he's saying, like they're setting him up because he says, go to this place at 9:00 at the back door, or whatever. I'm like, I'm sorry, Tony. It is so sad to see you go. But I guess they let him go.
Right. I get the impression from that. It's like, hey, call Mr. Todd. If Mr. Todd said, kill him at the back door, they would have killed him at the back door. And Mr. Todd probably said, let him kill, Dougie. My take.
Yeah. A lot of stuff happening off screen, I guess. No, because it really felt like that's curtains for Sinclair. All right. From here, Chantal and Hutch continue the road trip, and they're heading into Utah.
I don't have much to say about this other than it's always great to see her eating Cheetos. But I think it's just a great joke.
They don't drink liquor?
They don't drink coffee. They don't drink Coca-Cola. And they don't even have sex before marriage.
Yeah, when they do get married, I heard they can marry like 6 or 10 women.
Funny there's not more of them. I guess it's the drinks.
Apologies to Mormons out there listening if you found it offensive. They get to marry 6 or 10 women.
6 or 10.
Yeah.
Not 6 to 10, not a
It's
much.
your only
It's
choice.
6 or 10. I don't know where Hutch gets his information, but it's pretty funny. No, it's a great scene. It's anytime we get to see the two of them on a road trip, super fun.
We're at the halfway point, friends, or roughly the halfway point, depending on how the time falls. We're here to talk about the greatest people in the world, Dan. We're here to talk about the Black Lodge supporters that I've tattooed every one of your names on my back. I have to shout out, legally, Chuck Suffle, Gregory Flanagan, Dawn Adamo, Banjo Track, Eric Knopp, Charlie Tapper, Jake Jagello, Matthew Fuller, David Melito, Daryl Dyson, Dana Gould, Jeff, and Henrik E. Dan, help me out.
Man, all right, I'll give you a breather, Garrick. We got more. We got concluding remarks. Brian Johnson, Meerkats, Raga Raven, Evan Fitz, Hazel Haywood, Ivan, William Schaefer, Jordan Carver, Matt W., Nick Webb, Harvey Woodlawn, Kaylin Best Lawrence, and he who is Clem Fandango, aka Luke P. Also, welcome, Luke. Nice to see you on the Patreon board where all of you can have nice conversations with each other because, like I said, getting a whole lot of you in here.
Yeah, that's great. It's exactly what we want. It's like the Black Lodge, a bunch of woodsmen hanging around outside of an abandoned gas station. And speaking of abandoned gas stations, let's go fill up with the rest of the episode. Did that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. Perfect. Everything
okay.
totally works. All right. Let's head back to Vegas again. Janie drops Dougie off at work in her new car, and Sinclair takes Dougie for a coffee next door.
She happily opens the door for him. So it's nice to watch these drop-offs happen from the, I don't want to deal with you, and why can't you open this door, to her happily taking care of him, opening the door, pushing him on his way. A big jump from where we were.
You remember that time when she did it, and then after she pushes him out, has to close the door, and then she's like, oh, I have to put the seatbelt back on. This time she's like sighing in delight as she does. I mean, it's a beautiful car, so every moment she's spending it, she even like caresses the steering wheel as she's ready to go and revs off. But back at this mirror image of these other moments that you had, like you mentioned before, we're seeing all these things kind of pay off in reverse.
A lot about materialism here that works because materialism really is an illusion. Okay, so Dougie walking into that door is so funny. It's so great. And the thud when he hits, and watching Tom Sizemore again, R.I.P. Great reaction to watching it happen, and confusion and befuddlement to how he's even existing. You get a shot of the security system, which is running AMAG with an eagle logo. I can't bake too much of that. I was like, I got to figure out what this is. It's actually a security system that you would use in a place. I think that's probably all there is, but their logo is an eagle. If it was an owl, I'd probably have more to say.
It probably was the one like in the actual physical building that wasn't for it. So I love that you're going to say.
Yeah, sometimes you look too deeply at these things. What I really like about this scene, though, is Tony stops Dougie and invites him to have a nice hot cup of coffee.
Every day, once a day, give yourself a present. Don't plan it. Don't wait for it. Just let it happen. Could be a new shirt at the men's store, a cat nap in your office chair, or 2 cups of good, hot, black coffee. Like this.
A present. Like Christmas.
So, bam, you get that connection to the originals, or at least I do. That's what's going on in my head for Cooper to reconnect back to the world of Twin Peaks. I love the Simon's waitress. Simon's, is that what we're saying this is called? Sisman's? She's played by Virginia Call, and I just want to do a little hat tip to Joanna Ray and, of course, David Lynch for always like finding the right people for the moment. She was an actress. She was in Big Little Lies, show that she did with Laura Dern. And she played the teacher in the clip that I had dropped when we talked about how Ivy George was in Twin Peaks and the Return. She played the little girl that was in the news segment. She played Laura Dern's daughter and didn't even realize it at the time that I was dropping this clip in, that I was getting both actresses.
Amabella, sweetie, can you tell me if it was a boy or a girl? Right? That was a boy? What was his name?
Maybe she doesn't want to say.
So it was a twofer because she was also in that clip. I love watching Dougie get pulled in by the pie. You already talked about the dandruff, how dandruff is a plot point. Wonderful. Tony going into the bathroom, realizing what he did, thinking that Dougie's onto him, and then all of the guilt and the weight and all of his corruption just pouring out of him. Like he's being purified and he's seeking redemption. And this is the beginning of it. But when he goes to the bathroom, the man in the urinal.
That bad, huh?
That guy is credited as Malone. It's Mike Malone. He was the set dresser in the original series, set dresser in Fire Walk with Me, and as well as Twin Peaks: The Return. So he's been working on the show forever. He was one of the agents I had mentioned when we did Fire Walk with Me. So when Chet Desmond pulls over the bus and there's like the two agents like in the background, he's one of them. Just great. Just really funny scene, this little thing.
It's so great. You've mentioned Dougie banging his head into the window, like a bird hitting the window. But then he's like tapping on the glass, can't figure out how to open the door until, again, Dougie ping-ponging through. Someone comes by, opens the door for him. But not only opens the door for him, which might be kind of normal, also like steers him through the door. Like it's just, and no one really, there's always someone there. No one thinks twice about it.
Probably not the first day that same guy probably had to do it.
Dougie's been standing outside until someone opens the door for him. I like your connection with the coffee and treating yourself once a day. I just, knowing the way that Sinclair emphasizes the word, knowing that coffee is going to be the magic word that's going to lure Dougie to where he needs to take him. Terrific. You mentioned the waitress. To me, the waitress uniform, at a coffee and pie shop, you wouldn't necessarily think of a diner waitress uniform, but it reminds me of like Hap's diner waitress uniforms, the pink and white as well. So I just like the repeating theme of that. Again, you had Cooper running into the glass, then tapping on to get through the door. Now he sees the pie and he's tapping on the case to get to the pie. Like he's confused by glass now and he can't get his hand through it. And then you get the waitress there saying, "Do you want the pie? I'll get it for you. Go enjoy your coffee." So again, coffee steers him back to where he needs to be. So he just keeps getting placed in the places where he needs to be for things to continue. Dougie coming up and seeing the dandruff on Sinclair's back. I don't know exactly, like it's hard to understand, in Dougie's mind or Cooper's mind what he's doing there, but it reminded me of like a star field. It was the black jacket with the white speckles. Just makes me think of the non-existent falling through space. Kind of what it looked like to me. That he's just kind of touching it, moving it around. And it was like that physical touch, that almost not quite massage that Tony's getting, and how uncomfortable he is. But he's like going to barrel through it. And this is the thing I need to do. I need to get him to sit down and drink this coffee. But then he just breaks because of that physical touch. He says, "You got to drink your coffee." And Dougie repeats, "Your coffee," which is the trigger that makes him think, "Oh, he's on to me." So, that luck, that serendipity, that being in the right place or saying the right thing, and how that almost like a joke, but the way that it keeps moving through for Dougie pays off here is terrific. All right, so we'll head off. Let's go to Twin Peaks. At the Double R, Shelley convinces Becky to come to the diner for cherry pie a la mode and chat about Steven.
Man, what a great transition, because you had talked about the waitress being Haps, whatever, but for me it was Double R, because we go from cherry pie to the Double R. It's like, yeah, you're watching him eat that cherry pie. We want to get right over to that Double R where I want to be. Shelley gets that call from Becky, and it's such a sharp contrast to part 11. The last time Becky called, she's demanding the car. Shelley ran to her, but here, when Becky calls, Shelley's calm, Becky's sad. And at first, Shelley is more concerned with her customers, and it's great watching, she's kind of pushing her daughter away. And then she kind of realizes that what she needs is a mom to listen and not someone just to give her what she wants. And you watch it, and she invites her over. And there's just this nice moment.
No, you know what?
Why don't you come down here and I'm gonna serve you up a beautiful piece of cherry pie, a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and lots of whipped cream.
Oh, damn. Okay. Ugh. Sounds so good. Okay.
Okay, I'll be right there. Okay, hurry up and we'll find some time to talk, okay? Okay, thanks. I love you. I love you too.
It's nice that they both tell each other they love each other in this moment, because we don't get too much of that with in this show, unfortunately. The last time it was violent, like literally Shelley was physically hurt, but now it's love, and heartbreak and forgiveness. Again, it's like this is one of those scenes that is about forgiveness, to go from such a bad experience before, literally knocking your mom off a car, to bringing them together and coming together and all those things. Also of note, Steven's been gone for 2 days, and she's worried that he's going through something bad. So we'll see what comes of that.
I'm sure he's fine. Yeah, that was the said the same things I was thinking of too. Go from cherry pie to cherry pie again, diner to diner. Love that. Cherry pie plays a big part throughout this episode. Or the recipe and everything. What is also great, like you said, you just really seeing Shelley make that realization of like, actually my daughter really does need me. And it just makes me think of the diner scene of the Bobby and Shelley and Becky together in that family unit. I don't know if it really just did something, but solidified like how much trouble Becky is in. And Shelley just really does take that time to help her. But what I really love is Becky's expression when she talks about the pie and the Alamo with the ice cream and the which okay, it just sounds like I love her facial expressions, the joy that comes. All right, I'll be right there is really fun. God, she's just she really the range of like last time we saw her in the trailer and how enraged she was. In this case, you get to see like how excited she is for that pie, and presumably getting to talk to her mom and get what she needs from her, getting that maternal love. Eric, we're gonna head back to the Lucky Seven. Sinclair's got some confessing to do. He tells everything to Bushnell, and he agrees to testify against Duncan Todd.
Yeah, another scene about finding forgiveness for something terrible you've done and for mercy, but even more importantly, I feel like it's justice. Like with the arrival of Cooper, people are better off, but there's also this sense of justice emerging from the darkness. Like he's going to testify, the good guys are going to win, the bad guys are going to get punished. Even like Bushnell is so great in the scene when he talks about my anger is subsiding. Like there's change at work in this world that's going on.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is this justice was a great way to put it. And the way that Sinclair recognizes, he even says like he's going to put himself back on the right path again and realizing like he almost committed murder. He did all these terrible things and almost murder. The way that he's like crying his way through all of that. And he says, "Thank you, Dougie." And Dougie's saying, "Thank Dougie," which was almost like a command. Like, yeah, say thank you again. And it starts, thank you, Dougie. It says it again. Man, it's just so good.
And that we also hear the cops are worse than Mr. Todd, if that's possible. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, he knows about them too. Oh, so
yeah,
good.
He drew all these stairs.
All right.
Look at his files of staircases.
Well, he did put the dots next to the cops' names and everything. So yeah, he does know all of it. All right. Sometime later at the Double R, Bobby has dinner with Big Ed, and Norma discusses business with her significant other.
God damn, this is a great scene.
Did this scene break you, Eric, when you first saw it?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know your affinity, your affection for this couple.
There's so much going on in this scene. It's so good on so many levels. First off, Bobby gets his meal from a Double R waitress played by Kate Alden. And it's such a sad scene. Not that there's anything necessarily going on between him and the waitress, but she's very friendly with him. He's clearly alone. And he can't see potential love in front of him because he's just so preoccupied, like a sick, lovesick puppy, looking for Shelley. And you see him, he's just carrying this flame for a love that has left him, only to see Ed and Norma, and Ed too carrying that flame for Norma.
And to like even underline it almost, like that she was so friendly with him. She was, he says I get the usual, he's there all the time. And his relationship with him and Shelley, it could have been Shelley across the counter from him. So just like it really just underlines, draws a circle around that whole missed opportunity, or the fact that he's kind of stuck in a way, which is a kind of a theme that I feel like we see a lot in this episode and previous episodes, are kind of being stuck in place.
So I've said this episode is about forgiveness. This is the scene that really like made me sort of re-examine all of these scenes together. The fact that Ed calls Bobby over and invites him to sit with him and Norma and not be alone means so much, because they have history, and there's so much to him saying,
So, what's new, Deputy?
And it speaks so much to Bobby's growth and about his relationship with Ed. Bobby knocked Ed out in the roadhouse at the end of the pilot.
Mr. Monkey Wrench!
Take that, Mr. Monkey Wrench. Him and Mike, like, hated Ed.
You're on my lot, friend.
Oh, Ed, I'm not your friend.
Mike, remember, was I'm not your friend, Ed. Bobby was selling drugs in Twin Peaks, and Ed made it his mission. That's why he was in the Bookhouse Boys, helping the cops out.
Ed, I didn't know you were a deputy.
He's not.
Well, it's a little outside your jurisdiction, don't you think?
But somebody's selling drugs to high school kids. And I figure that's everybody's jurisdiction.
And you know Bobby was tormenting his nephew, Ed's nephew, James. So there were years of bad blood. And here we are, and Ed is inviting him to break bread and asking, so what's new, deputy? And it's so much in that little scene about how much Bobby's changed, but also how much Ed's changed, and the commonality that they have between the two of them when we see that Norma's with this other idiot. One note that comes up, though, is I don't know what to make of it 100%, like I have a whole theory, or I'm not saying that, but Bobby says, we found some stuff that my dad left today.
Oh, well, we found some stuff that my dad left today.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stuff?
Don't know yet, but it's something, though. You know?
Now, if that's the same hidden message from the chair, that was back in part 9, but Bobby and Shelley and Becky have dinner at the Double R in part 11. So when he says today, that would put that scene after this scene.
Yeah.
Or is it just like, is it just him just saying we found it today because they've been thinking about it or whatever? Or should it have been yesterday? Because that's kind of how it would be if yesterday was the night with the... So I don't know. It's just something that stands out.
I had the same question. Like, was it the thing? Well, it said I found some things, as opposed to, I found something, it's slight difference. So I'm wondering, is it like from there he's found this and now he's started like digging for more stuff?
Right. It could be that.
Because the continuity, like you said, it just wouldn't work out in the way that we linearly expect time to work. But, who knows what's really going on here? Are we seeing things out of order? There's no real way to know.
We also had Andy's watch having the wrong date. It said a 10 instead of it being, because it should have been the 29th, I think, was when this whole thing, because the 29th is when they find the thing in the chair, because it's in 2 days is going to be the second or whatever, or 2 days was going to be the first. I don't remember. I said in the previous episode when I had my notes.
2 days, it was the first to the second. So yeah.
It was like the September 29th.
Either we're seeing things out of order, it was just kind of spoken inartfully or incorrectly, or, maybe he really is, there's some stuff happening here that maybe dug up some memories for him.
This is the same thing as this barely covers what we paid for. That would ruin my life, like with this freaking drug transaction. This is also another of those lines coming from Bobby. Like, we found some stuff that my dad left today. And you're like, well, could it be today? But it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. We'll talk about other stuff. I'm sure people have 100% have theories that, yes, it is at a time, or that scene happens after, and we're seeing these timelines. But I don't. I haven't connected those dots in any meaningful way. Okay, Norma bringing Ed his dinner is super sweet. While Ed tells Bobby, nothing's happening here. And then we see why, right? Immediately. So Walter Lawford arrives. Now, you had made an 8 is enough joke. Walter Lawford is played by Grant Goodeve from 8 is enough. So that's why I was surprised that you had made that connection.
How did you get Dad to manage Little League?
I don't know, But as soon as I find out, I'll tell you.
You enlist Dad to the team and you haven't asked him yet?
Mm-mm. Any suggestions?
That's why you look so freaking familiar. Oh my God. I mean, I barely remember that show. So it's not, I mean, unless there's something way back in my subconscious, because I mean, I did see it, but it was very, very little.
We've had 8 is Enough and The Love Boat.
When Ed says there's nothing going on here, Jesus, that hurt. It was so hard to hear that after, for me, the last thing I'm thinking of was it Missing Pieces or Firewalk With Me, where they're in the car together listening to the radio?
Missing Pieces.
Yeah, so that was kind of the last time I saw them together.
Which, takes place before the original series.
It's so far back. Chronologically, it's so far back. For us, it's the last thing that I kind of saw of the two of them. So it's like this, now they don't have a relationship at all, or they never had one.
That's how it ended at the end of season 2, right? Because they were together. They were getting a divorce. Like Ed was divorcing Nadine, and then she got hit in the head and came out of it. And now Ed went right back into his guilt prison. And that's why there's nothing going on, because Nadine and Ed have to stay together because of all that guilt.
No, you're totally right. It does make sense chronologically, but like I said, the way that we saw it, because that scene was such fulfillment of everything we'd seen through 2 seasons to actually happen, and so bad.
Plus, you're seeing them eating together, so of course you're like, oh, this is actually, they have something going on, and not this freaking Walter Lawford, who again, he also says, oh, what's his name again?
What's his name again?
Ed Hurley.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which immediately is very familiar to Hank's line that he used on Shelley when he was trying to feel out who Norm was with.
She told me in her letters how much it meant and how much Pete helped.
Pete?
Yeah. No, not Pete.
Oh, no, you mean Ed.
Yeah, Big Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little better at faces than names, I guess.
Like, it's a very, very similar take, and it's kind of a connection again to Hank. Norma continuing to be with bad men. But we learned a lot about her finances, so 3 out of 5 of the stores are turning a profit. Hers is the only one not named Norma's Double R. But they use cheap ingredients, Dan. It feels very much, of course, this is like an executive showing focus group data, and you feel a little bit of like what they may have had to deal with some networks that they had to deal with over the years.
Yeah, it felt to me this was the most pointed and on the nose sort of meta commentary, if that's indeed what it is, or I guess it's very easy to read it that way. It was left so that you could read it that way, but it felt so much like they followed by. Wait, when you were having that conversation with Dana Gould before, you were talking about, they owned the show, and if the network had owned it, and it would have been rebooted a million times, it would have been terrible. This is exactly what it makes me think of. It would have been conversations like this. We told you had to follow our recipe. Well, we did follow the recipe, but we decided to change a few things throughout. So it really feels like this alternate universe of what could have happened with Twin Peaks. So I'm glad you kind of had the same reading as me, because it felt very obvious.
Certainly a general commentary on our society and the need to make more and more money at the expense of quality that's everywhere, that is in food and in every other part of our society.
Absolutely. But in this case, it's specifically about the cherry pie, and that is so emblematic of Twin Peaks that to me, that's like, we said before, the cherry pie is like a recurring thing throughout this episode specifically. This part, just changing it ever so slightly, or, lesser inferior ingredients. It's still technically the same thing. It's still technically Norma's pie, but it's not as good. It really makes me think of the thing that could have happened with Twin Peaks entirely. But maybe it's just because I've listened to that conversation you two had so much that that's what's in my head with this.
Yeah, no, I had the same thought.
When you see Ed at the end, whenever the two of them make the dinner plans, Norma's definitely wary about all this, but then she gets charmed again by him at the last moment. We're going to have dinner to celebrate. And then Ed just looking at her, man, my heart breaks.
When they do that back and forth look, it's rough. But I mean, in Norma's defense, she wants to be with Ed, and Ed's not giving it to her because he's made this decision to be with Nadine because she's unwell, although she seems sort of well at this point. So maybe he could have had just an adult conversation with her. But, she's got to move on.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they both try to do the right thing, and it doesn't always work out.
And maybe they're not romantic. Maybe they're just going to go out to dinner. Who knows? I mean, he did kiss her, so what am I saying?
No.
Yeah,
They're together. There's no doubt there whatsoever. All right. Well, let's head across town. Let's go to Run Silent, Run Drapes. Nadine gets a visit from her hero.
This is me every time someone leaves a comment on one of our posts, is me being Dr. Amp, hitting the brakes because I saw something connected to this freaking podcast. Oh, wait, somebody's posting about one of our things. It's very cute. Nadine is also writing something, maybe an email. We don't know what she's doing. She's busy at work. Nadine loves Dr. Amp. She listens every week. And Dr. Amp has a thing for Nadine, in my opinion. Nadine just wants to be seen. And so does Jacoby. That's why he's putting out these podcasts every week about a show that he watched when he was 15 years old. And that's all any of us really want, is to be seen. And he sees her 7 years ago. She's looking for a freaking potato. And it's in the shopping center. And he remembers it's a stormy day that day because he remembers that day because he likes her, in my opinion. And like he sees her. And now she's getting that from someone and how excited she is. She's going to shovel shit for him. It's just a great little moment. It doesn't do anything more than make you love characters more. Like it's not going to unleash any riddles that I have seen, but I love it. I love this scene.
I think it's unmistakable that Jacoby is smitten with her there. But that she calls him Dr. Amp. At first she's Dr. Jacoby. Can I call you Dr. Amp? Well, that's who I am. So, because it makes me think of like the relationship they'd had prior was so messed up in the second season when she's, has the delusions, she's in high school, and he, as her doctor, is treating her and saying, like, just go with it. Don't just let it go. Let her live in this fantasy. And that was the Jacoby and Nadine relationship. This is Dr. Amp and Nadine. So maybe there's something a little bit different about these personas that they're wearing or whatever at this point. But it's a cute scene. The way that she's like shoveling this shit is great. She's so excited to say it to him.
And you get like her excitement about the Drape Runners, how quiet they are. So that comes back and you really miss that.
It's the old Nadine before all that storyline for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to stay in Twin Peaks. We're going to go over to the Palmer house. Sarah makes herself a drink and watches some boxing.
Oh God, we could be here a while, I guess. So here
tell me.
Yeah, here we see Sarah literally trapped in time. The broadcast is skipping in the same room where Maddie was killed when a record skipped.
Oh, the right hand catches the big guy by the ear. And he finally goes down, hangs onto the rope. Papa Donovan asks him if he's okay. This looks like round number 1 and 2 the way. Now it's a boxing match. Oh, the right hand catches the big guy by the ear. And he finally goes down.
Now it's a boxing match again, which that in a way is kind of a perverted boxing match that was going on there. You hear like that little bit of electricity right before the loop happens. Of note, we should also, a warning, Sarah is running out of vodka. So I don't want to be around when she runs out of vodka. That will be important later. You see so many interesting things in the room, though. So there's pills everywhere. There's 2 bunnies. It's about the bunny. But there's a table of pictures of Laura. I don't know if you noticed it. One of them is Laura and Donna, and it's Lara Flynn Boyle's Donna. So she technically is in the return. So we do get a Donna appearance in one of the pictures. And I love watching at the end, like Sarah trying to get up, and then she falls back down. And then eventually she commits to leaving the room in a quest that we assume for more booze. But it's a time loop. Like you literally, the TV is skipping. She is trapped in this moment forever. Oh, bowl of cream corn. I was going to forget. There's a giant bowl of freaking cream corn. To me, what looks like a giant bowl of Garmonbozia right there that she's got at the ready. Maybe it's something else, but for me, it looks like cream corn. I don't know, man. It's just looped.
Hearing that static at the beginning of each loop was crazy. And the way that she really is just absolutely stuck in place until she's running out of liquor. And I get the feeling that she went to go find one of her stashes of liquor that she has around the house. And even that one's almost out too.
That could be true. I took it even as like going through the recyclables.
There is no way that she would have thrown out anything that had even a hint of booze left at the bottom of it.
But when you're an addict, like you'll look everywhere. You know what I mean? So it was like one of the lowest points.
She would totally look anywhere, but I can't imagine at that moment that she would throw it out if there was even a drop left in it. So to me, this was like the one hidden behind the toilet in the upstairs bathroom or something that she had at the ready. And even that one just had barely enough for a splash. And she's like, well, I'll add more tomato juice to it to make it last. Man, and the cigarette ashtray that's the size of like a planter.
If I had a nickel for every cigarette your mom smoked, I'd be dead.
It's quite the scene. And you're right, that the moment she tries to get up and falls back down again, she's just so broken. And of course, it makes you think of the previous time we saw her sitting there smoking and drinking with the documentary of the lions on TV, but now it's people fighting.
Some form of violence. Yeah.
Couldn't quite get the same angle of like the reflections behind her of the boxing match like we saw with the lions. That would have been like a perfect symmetry of that too. But what a scene to see this all together. I got to go back and check out each of those little details you pointed out because I didn't quite see each of those.
Yeah, look for the cream corn. It's in the front.
That's cool. The photo of Laura Flynn Boyle, Laura Flynn Boyle in the background's really cool. You know, I have this half-formed idea that I can't quite wrap my arms around yet because we haven't gotten to the end and see how it kind of all comes together. But like these, doubling of people and we get the different characters and are we in a different timeline? Laura's removed. Are things different than they were the first time? So we kind of get these different versions of things. So that's a great detail to see as well. All right. We're staying in Twin Peaks for the remainder, but we're going to head over to Audrey and Charlie's place as she tries to decide if she's going to go look for Billy or stay where she is. Which one would you be, Eric?
Speaking of being trapped in a moment, this is like the most clear indication of my suggestion last time that the Audrey Sherilyn Fenn character is moving inside and outside of the show. I mean, she talks about feeling like she is someone else.
I feel like I'm somewhere else. Have you ever had that feeling, Charlie?
No.
Like I'm somewhere else and like I'm somebody else. Have you ever felt that?
No.
And I'm not sure who I am, but I'm not me. I like that he answers with, that's existentialism 101. We talk more about what she's supposed to do as well. He's like,
you're supposed to go to the roadhouse and see if Billy is there.
The story says you are supposed to go to the roadhouse and look for Billy. And that's what we want, right? We want her at the roadhouse. We want her back in Twin Peaks. That is the expectation of the story of Twin Peaks, of going back to Twin Peaks as an idea, and the idea that features a character as iconic as hers. We don't want her sitting in this thing. We want you to go back to the roadhouse. We want you to do this. Do you have a bowl of cherries? We want you to tie a freaking cherry stem into a knot with your mouth. He talks about ending her story too.
Now, are you going to stop playing games or do I have to end your story too?
And she says, what story is that, Charlie? And so it's the little girl that lived down the lane. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I had to look it up. It's a Jodie Foster movie. Now I want to see it.
So it's a novel and a film. I've seen the film. I've not read the novel. It's about a 13-year-old Jodie Foster, and Martin Sheen is like this weirdo character that comes.
They called her the little girl who lives down the lane. All alone in that big house. Who was she? And what was her secret?
But it was controversial at the time because it had a nude scene with a 13-year-old Jodie Foster, but her older sister played the body double to do the nude scenes. But anyway, it's a film in which the girl is basically living alone. So her parents' whereabouts are kind of a mystery. So she's sort of like telling the cops, oh, my mom's away, or like my dad's busy. He's a poet or whatever. So I remember really liking the film. But all of this stuff is about stories and that we are in a story, and she's aware that she is in a story, and she is between the story of Twin Peaks. He's going to end her story. How do you end someone's story that's in a story? Is you take them out of the story. Part of the story, you need to go over here. And that little girl that lived down the lane and the mystery that's around that. And this, I would recommend that movie. I haven't seen it in years. Martin Sheen's scary as hell in it. I think it's classified as a horror movie. It's kind of like, it's like a suspense type of weird. It's a very strange movie, but it's good. There is a listener that I'm sure they've already commented on this video. They comment on a lot of our videos that has a very specific theory that all of Twin Peaks is about Audrey and not Laura. So if you're interested in that, I'm sure you can go to any of our videos, and he's very detailed about all the notes. And I imagine this scene is probably right in his wheelhouse. I love that she says she wants to exist and not exist. Stay or go. Non-existence. Like, you immediately start thinking about the sea of pure consciousness and ideas coming out, and what an idea of whether you're writing a character into a show or not, and not to step outside of the world of Twin Peaks and add too many outside things in. But I know when they originally were doing The Return, Sherilyn Fenn had kind of a different role, different character arc and everything. And the actress, Sherilyn Fenn, was like, I don't like, can we do something else? And so this kind of came out of that. I hate saying that because I'm vomiting Judy on everything. But in that sense, it's almost like Sherilyn Fenn herself is coming into the story through Twin Peaks, and it's affecting it and feeding my wonderful dream of what this all is about. So I do see some of that. I understand I'm coloring it by knowing some behind the scenes stuff. She also says it's like Ghostwood here. What a great line that is. I don't know. You tell me what you think. It's a lot to process coming off of the Palmers. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have any notes on this scene. All I have is the transcript. Because there's like everything is here. There's just so many ideas. Like, I couldn't even parse through all of them because it's so rich in double meaning or ambiguous meaning. I'm fascinated by Charlie. I don't understand who he is. You had made the point before of like the way that he looks like wearing the same sweater, as kind of the same outfit as
Yeah, John Justice Wheeler. And that's who I think when she talks about literally Billy is Billy Zane. But yes, he also looks like.
And when I went to go grab the transcript, because it's not easily found, I went searching for it. And of course, one of the things that comes up is Reddit. And because it shows like the beginning summaries of each of the posts that you're looking at, I read, and I don't like to do this either. I don't like to read other people's theories. But there was this whole, thing that's now coloring how I'm seeing this too, is like, it feels like the Audrey second season storyline of like how it was, supposed to be one thing, and then it was this kind of thing is off on its own, separate from the rest of the story with John Justice. It doesn't really tie into anything else. And this is also kind of a story that is in its own little bubble and only seems tangentially related. I don't totally buy that, but it is coloring the way that I see this in this kind of meta way that I think is clearly here in the text. The way that she's saying, like, who am I supposed to be? I'm supposed to trust myself, but I don't even know who that is. Just the way that she delivers these lines, she's in such anguish and such confusion. Charlie's saying you're supposed to go to the Roadhouse, and she's okay. Like, she's thinking about it, doesn't know where it is. So it's just like, if you think about this in the character's point of view, it's like it's nowhere. It's just a different set. Like, there is no way to get there. It's just another place that you just end up appearing. So if you're a character that's realizing or waking up in this dream, you don't actually know how to get from one place to another. I don't know. These are all kind of half-formed thoughts, but it feels really like there's so much more. And this is the type of thing, after watching all of The Return, I'm going to want to go back and watch it all again to see, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that kind of points to other parts of the rest of the show as well. I want to know with Charlie too, like when he says, end your story too. What's the other two?
Right. Did he end someone else's story? And this is in addition to, or you're right.
What is that too about? That's really freaking me out. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I wrote that down as well. Yep, it's definitely something to think about.
And when she's sitting there, I want to stay, I want to go, I want to do both. Which will it be? Which one would you be, Charlie? Help me. And she's just breaking down, crying, and it's like Ghostwood here. Like, what do you take from like that line? It's like Ghostwood here. Because there's obviously the whole like the Ghostwood storyline, the way that was all set up, but that's not it. It's is it the spirits in the woods? Is it because the house itself, sorry, I'm rambling like mad because this is nuts. That when you look around the house, the only thing we've seen before is his office. So now we're in a different setting, but everything looks like it's from the 50s or earlier. Everything's antique. Everything feels out of time. All the furniture, it doesn't really feel like a place that I would necessarily imagine her living in, but regardless, it just doesn't feel like it's contemporary. So it also feels like it's this bubble out of time as well.
Absolutely. It's definitely a place outside of the place, outside of the story that we're in. Yeah, absolutely. And it's cluttered. It feels like jumbled memories or just a bunch of things sort of unorganized, and that there's stuff everywhere.
As we talk about Dougie and kind of getting moved from place to place where he needs to be, I was kind of pinballing from one place to another. And the more I think about it, the less I think it's that and more of like a direct Deus Ex Machina. He is being directed from place to place. It is, a serendipitous thing is going to happen because it is this director putting him where he needs to be. And this is kind of like the darker side of that, where she's not taking direction or she doesn't know what the direction is, doesn't know who she's supposed to be.
Well, I don't know if you saw, there's like a behind the scenes thing that's really interesting. That's Sherilyn Fenn and David Lynch smoking cigarettes. And she's trying to figure out, like, talking about this. I don't know, it wasn't this scene. I think it was the previous scene about if she's mad at Charlie or how does she deliver the line. They're talking about the character and stuff.
Because it's written, is it that all the time?
What do you
Or is
mean?
it just a,
What do you mean all the time?
well, she's just
Giving him, yeah, giving him the
just
business.
giving him the business.
She's giving him the business tonight.
Like I gave you the business.
Exactly.
I know where you wrote it from, you brat. Okay.
Yeah.
And she says something along the lines of like, "Oh, you wrote this for me on purpose because I'm a pain in the ass too," like that kind of thing.
So when I said we were still in Twin Peaks, I don't know. Maybe we're not. But now we are. We're definitely at the Roadhouse, Eric. We're going to watch James Hurley play his hit.
Yeah.
And to the point where Renee has moved to tears.
Yeah, just you and I. So we get J.R. Starr, the MC. He's back, introducing Mr. James Hurley. He gets a little introduction.
Not
the Nine
the
Inch
James
Nails
Hurley
and the James Hurley. Yeah.
The James Hurley.
Two backup singers, Rachel Bauer and Kelsey Bolin. We haven't seen Renee since part 2, so it's like they set up that thing in part 2 that she liked James, and we get Shelley's wonderful James has always been cool, and now here she is again, continuing the themes of longing. Renee is physically brought to tears. I love when she acknowledges to her friends that she is crying and then just goes right back to it and lets herself sort of go to it. I don't have anything. I like this song. I will defend this song till I die. So no notes. I think it's great.
I got to say, I like this song the first time around. This one does a little bit less for me. But what I do like is the backup singers here, both very reminiscent to me of Maddie and Donna together. And to the point where it really looks to me like they're obviously wearing wigs, which makes me think of Cheryl Lee wearing a wig as Maddie. Like, it is very much like, almost feels like a nod to me of like,
will you wear wigs? You're much better at wig detection than I am, like, because I never even realized. It's obvious that Cheryl Lee's wearing a wig. I went my whole life never really picking up on those details.
Always assume they're wearing wigs, even if it looks like the realest hair in the world. Then it's just a very good wig. But it's just yeah. But it looks to me like that is a very like obvious setup.
Absolutely supposed to make you think of that scene.
And I love that. Like, so that part to me is what really makes this scene work. Besides Renee, the actress, you said her name, wonderful. I don't know if there's anything to make of it, if it's a real tattoo on her arm, but she has a tattoo on her arm. There's 4 numbers, but it was hard for me to actually make out what they were. So I couldn't go down a rabbit hole and figure out what they are.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's her real tattoo.
But doesn't mean, even if it's not real, it doesn't mean you can't make a theory out of it anyway. So.
Jessica Zoer is her name.
Okay.
I'm probably mispronouncing it.
God, she's just what, because she starts off just a little bit, then a little bit more tears, then she acknowledges to her friends, and then it's just waterworks coming down her face as she's crying at this.
I think she's in Gossip Girl, which is not a show I've ever watched, but I believe she's from that.
I did watch Gossip Girl. But no, sorry. I'm thinking Gilmore Girls. I did watch Gossip Girl. Gilmore Girls, great. All right. And Eric, we're going to end on the biggest bummer ever. We got Big Ed, alone at the gas farm, eating his soup.
What a sad, sad moment. First off, well, it starts with the bear with me buzzer is so great. The little the bell or whatever. I love that. But again, unfulfilled love. Being alone, like Bobby and Ed with Shelley and Norma. Renee and James. Sad soup on a Friday night or whatever night of the week it is. He's all alone. He takes strictly cash. I think if he allowed for credit, he may get some more customers and maybe he won't be alone so much. So as the credits roll, the part that really gets to me because of what I'm adding, but I think it's right. There's like the folded up piece of paper, right? That's like, it's a square that Ed burns. In my heart, this is a letter that he was going to slip Norma at dinner before that guy showed up. And it was something left unsaid. And now he's decided she's with this
100%.
guy and I'm burning it. So that kills me.
That's now the truth to me as well. Because I was trying to think of like what is it that he's doing? Was it something he received from her? But it was definitely something of like literally burning the past, sort of like burning bridges. This is it. And it's so fucking sad. When he's sitting there eating his soup and he's like even like drinking it right out of there, you hear in the background we reverse shot and we see the gas pumps out in front. You hear a motorcycle going. I was like, oh, is James going to come visit his uncle? But no, it's just he's just there alone. It just adds this additional layer of like, there's people in the town he could be with right now, but he's absolutely alone, and just you and you.
Yeah, he could have went to the Roadhouse and seen his nephew perform.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, what a great episode. It's so poignant and so to end on that note too, because we usually end the Roadhouse with if we're at the Roadhouse, there's a song where they're kind of the end. Now we get this killer.
Just such sad love, right? Becky, who's with a horrible guy, hurt because the guy's not coming home. You got the freaking Bobby looking for Shelley. This Ed thing that'll kill you.
Who knows what's going on with Audrey and Billy or Audrey and Charlie? There's some weird love baby thing going on.
But to me, it's like, this is real life. This is real life. And whatever Janie E is going through is a fantasy. So I can't wait for next week. I don't know if you have anything else to say, but next week I get some vocabulary I've been dying to say several times. Okay. When I keep saying one word, I'm like, I could call it this other word. I'll be so much more comfortable. There's so many things that it's gonna open up, and I can add new theories that I very heavily hinted at in this episode, and I can fully expand on, and I love it.
In advance, then everybody, you got to clear out a fresh section of your notebook that you're keeping along. Eric's got new theories to drop. I'm going to start a clean page here.
Well,
we can see if we can.
Not only new theories, obviously.
Okay.
Building on old theories that I really love, and I'll say connected to February 16th. I was nervous about today because of the dream I told you about. So we're going back to Fire Walk With Me in a way. And that's what's rough about doing these edits is like we take clips and then we take a clip from the show and then we'll make an edit. And and then it's like I kind of want to insert what I'm going to say next week also into that episode because it's going to connect in a neat way.
Well, let's say goodbye, Eric.
All right. That's it. Good job.
Good job, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us.
Thank you for listening to the Meanwhile podcast with Dan Johnson and Eric Grissom. If you would like to support the Meanwhile podcast, join our Patreon. It's available right now. You can sign up, and for just a few dollars a month, you can keep this show going, and you can get access to some exclusive podcasts and some secret stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. So if you'd like to join, go to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile and look for the Patreon link. If you like our show, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're hearing this now. Meanwhile is produced by Eric Grissom and Where's My Robots? The Meanwhile theme song is written and performed by Paul Finn and Evening Pines. If you want to let us know what you thought of the show, you can reach Dan at danjnj.com, both on the web and on Blue Sky. Eric can be found on Blue Sky at ericgrissom.com, which is also his website. It's also me, right? That's weird. We'll see you again And in the meantime, be good.
Listen to the sounds.
Meanwhile.